Obviously, it has been an amazing 48 hours for the club. So tell us a little bit how you've experienced the past 48 hours.
Yeah, it's been incredible, really. I think, we've been on this incredible journey in 2020, and I've said before, it's felt like every time we got up, we got knocked back down. But it feels like since we came back in the restart, we've really started to build, both momentum and obviously some level of success. So, to be undefeated at home since the restart, and to continue to make huge progress on the stadium, and lots of positives in a very difficult year. So finding out last night, watching those other games play out, that qualified us for playoffs is fantastic. And still a lot of work to do. We still have 3 games in the regular season that'll determine where we play in the playoffs, whether we play in the play-in or whether we go straight to it. And it's very much in our hands, particularly with the next 2 games against Chicago and Dallas, and then we'll see where we are. But hugely proud of everybody on and off the field, and we've not made the most noise, we've not made the biggest splash, we've not been perhaps the sexiest game in town every time, but we've methodically gone about our work on and off the field. And I think finally some people are starting to realize that we quietly got there, but we got there, and we're difficult to play against, difficult to break down, and we go into a very small group of teams that have qualified for playoffs in their first year, and I think that's a pretty impressive group to be part of when you look at who's done that previously. I think in the last 22 years, I saw a stat. The 4 teams that have done it in that period all went on to win the competition in future years. So it's a good group to be around, great company to keep, and as I say, hugely proud.
Thank you, Ian. We'll now open the floor for questions, and just a reminder, alert me through the chat if you have one for Ian, or later on for Coach Smith or Dax McCarthy. We will begin with a question from the Tennessean, from Gentry Estes.
Yeah, hi, Ian. When you look at how this team was built and the roster was built, are you surprised to have this much success so soon? And by that I mean, were you building maybe more for down the line, even though you want to have success in the first year, but was the focus more future oriented?
Yeah, I think when we started to discuss the roster and the recruitment, one of the things that was top of mind for us was, if you look historically, a lot of new teams, a lot of expansion teams concede a lot of goals, and so a defensive, solid core was really a big part of our focus. As to how that would translate in terms of success, I think success was always going to be hard to measure in this first year. I think I was asked that question right at the start, and probably Mike and Gary were as well. And I know that my answer was something along the lines of, what we want to do is make Nashville feel proud, whatever that, and our supporters feel proud, that we weren't kind of cannon fodder, and we weren't taken easily in games, if you like. And as to reaching the playoffs, of course, it was always a dream, as it would be in any season. But whether we felt we would get there, I don't think we really had a view. We would just do our best, and it seemed like our best has been better than almost anyone expected. And so for that reason, I wouldn't say that we went out expecting to make playoffs, because that would be a tall order for anyone as an expansion team. But I think the way we went about the assemblance of our roster and the plan we had, as I say, to be very solid offensively, both in that back line and in central midfield, I think has proven to be the right decision, and the outcome looks good.
And as somebody who's been used to the concept of promotion and relegation, curious your thoughts on the playoff system. And I mean, does it give a team like yours some opportunity now to really have a chance at the end of the year, whereas if it's just a matter of taking all the standings, not so much.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a good format for this league, and getting there is just like winning the league in other countries. You're kind of playing for those positions in the top end of the league to go into usually a different competition. In European soccer was the case when I was at Liverpool. So it's not dissimilar to that you're fighting to get into that final bracket. And then, what I think is great about the playoffs for a team like us is that once you get into the playoffs, it's a one and done game scenario. And, I don't think there'll be many teams who want to play Nashville in the playoffs. I think we're difficult to beat. I think we, could frustrate other teams. We're hard to break down. So, and Gary and Dax will talk much more eloquently about that than me. But I think that, getting in there is the harder part, and then we'll give everything we've got, and I think we'll take anyone on any day.
We will continue with a question from Tim Sullivan for Club and Country.
Ian, obviously this stadium situation, as it's played out over time, has had many incremental steps along the way. How much more real does it feel, excuse me, with each passing rendering, with each update to the plans that you guys get to unveil? Yeah,
it's been a strange old journey, the stadium, and kind of ups and downs, a bit like 2020. But I think for all of us who are closer to it, we've never really wavered. I think we've had some difficult days on it, but I think for me today is more than anything is a big positive for our fans, because people read stuff and see stuff and concern about stuff, and construction could not be going better. It's moving along at a pace. The revenue bonds were approved in the Sports Authority meeting this morning. The structure's starting to take shape. If you go down and you see the site itself, I mean, there is real shape and scope and scale to that. And come the early part of the new year, we'll start to see steel coming out of the ground, and then the real structure will start to take shape. And so every passing day or week, this thing has more realism to it, and it won't, as is often the case with these things, you think it's a long way off, and then all of a sudden it's upon you. And that was the case with starting in MLS, and I feel like that's the case right now with the stadium, is that this thing is going to start gathering speed really quickly, and we're excited about that, particularly for our fans.
Claudio Villalobos with the next question.
Ian, taking into account the obvious differences between the Premier League and the MLS, and your experience of how hard and difficult it is to keep a team playing at the top level for many years. Has it come to a surprise for you that Nashville has already reached the playoffs in the first season? And how do you think it will manage to stay in the top positions for the years to come?
Thanks, Claudio. Yeah, look, I think in any team, when in my time at Liverpool, I don't really see any differently to my time at Nashville, in the sense that, we're trying to build a team. The difference here is we're starting from zero, whereas whenever you join almost any other soccer club, you join in, you're inheriting a roster or a organization. And so, yeah, I mean, pleasantly surprised at what we've achieved this season, and as we all are. I think, nobody's getting carried away with themselves. I think we all know that we still have a lot of work to do, both for the remainder of this season, but also as we go into 21 and beyond. And that, as much work from Mike, the fantastic work that Mike Jacobs and his team have done, will continue, and has been continuing, to be honest. We don't wait for the end of this season to do the work to decide on what direction and what positions we might strengthen in 21. So that work's already going on, and we're completely aware of it. It's almost that happens as an aside. We're assessing, Gary and Mike and others, everyone's assessing how we've performed in different positions and how much depth or strength we have in those positions, and we'll just continue to add to it. And I think, you know, going back to what I said earlier about how do you measure success, I think what we always want to do is see that we're moving forward. And, you know, moving forward next year might be in a different form. It might be we win more games. It might be that we have we bring in more players that we feel gives us more depth. It could be a whole bunch of things. But yeah, we're setting the bar high for ourselves, achieving this in the first year. But you know, we said right at the start, you know, and John Ingram, our owner, said, you know, we'll go big or go home. So we'll plod away at it. As I said before, I think we always want to be the guy that doesn't make too much noise, isn't too flash, gets the job done, and hopefully that translates into, you know, success on and off the pitch. And I feel good about the foundation we've built and what we've achieved. And if we can continue to make that level of progress, then, you know, I think as we've said before, we're coming to challenge, not just to take part.
Mark Barnes with the Sports Business Journal.
Thanks, Chris, and thanks, Ian, for taking the time. I saw that the season tickets went on sale for next season. How is the club taking into consideration the notion that, you know, next year with the stadiums and pandemic, that probably not going to have full capacity, probably not even, you know, 50%. Like, how did that go into your guys' thinking to move forward with the ticketing for next season? And did anything change with strategy with that uncertainty?
Yeah, I think what that does more than anything is it limits the opportunity of how many people can come and enjoy soccer next season, perhaps, you know. And we don't, as I'm sure is the case with everybody, we don't really know what that looks like yet for 2021. We know, you know, I think we feel strongly that there will be some level of restriction, at least in the early part. We still also don't know what the start date is for next season completely yet. So a lot of moving parts, but we, as is the case with I'm sure almost every business these days, we have different scenario planning. So the very fortunate thing, and I've said many times that we're hugely grateful of the Titans and their support in allowing us to play at Nissan Stadium. What's great about Nissan Stadium in this current situation is it's such a big old stadium that even at 50% capacity, it's a big number. Even at 25%, it's a big number. So it's, you know, hopefully that allows us to bring as many people as we can attract to games next season. Again, we also very focused on trying to get people in, you know, to establish themselves and establish their place in line for the new stadium, which will also be on sale during 2021. And you know, some of the premium product maybe even sooner than that. So I think it is challenging. We have 4 or 5 different plans in the draw, but as far as supporters and fans are concerned, you know, we'll be open for business, we hope, and we hope for as many people as possible, and we hope that attracts as many people as possible. We're unfortunate that in reality we only had one unrestricted game this year, but what a game, you know, 59,000 people, fantastic atmosphere, great stadium, great spectacle, and I hope that we get to do more of the same in 21, and that our fans get to come back and enjoy it in you know, a better form than we've seen of late, but still attractive to come, still great to see your team, and still great to get to cheer them on.
Tim Sullivan with a follow-up question.
Yeah, kind of a follow-up to Mark's question there, actually. Your season ticket prices were reduced in comparison to the 2020 season. What was the motivation behind that? Was it just kind of with the understanding of the, I guess, unusual nature of what, I guess, pro sports are going to look like in the next year to 18 months?
Yeah, I think we're just trying to find a balance. You know, we'll always be learning and changing and adapting, obviously, because of the pandemic and the challenges of that, and the fact that, you know, the experience is slightly different, and adapting because we look across the league and see how that's, you know, working for other clubs. And, you know, we don't profess to know everything. We're the new kids on the block, so we'll always adapt. But we, you know, we want to offer something I think we said before that we always want to be able to offer something for everyone, and that's as true for 2021 in Nissan as it will be in the new stadium. That we recognise, and particularly in this current world, that people are at different price points. People have different financial concerns and challenges. People have different things that they need to achieve. So by offering a wide range of price points, we hopefully we deliver something that's available to everyone's pocket.